Hello my lovely people and welcome to Owen's Mind, a light-hearted trip through the contents of my head and the world in general. It is Wednesday the 6th of May, my name is Owen and here is what is on my mind today. So, really early in the morning here, I've got up nice and early to do this, so I'm going to be a little bit quiet because of the neighbours and the lighting's a little bit weird, so I look kind of orange, but to stop the green screen from artifacting, as you know, I tell you this a lot, I've just had to adjust things a little bit, so yes, I apologise for my strange pallor. Anyway, as usual, I've picked out 5 stories making the headlines I would like to give my thoughts on. Links will be in the description below so you can read each article in full and show those original publications some love. So without any further ado, let's get straight into story number 1. And story number 1 today comes to us from BBC News. Lord Alan Sugar's teeth whitening tweet was banned by an advertising watchdog. Yes, so Lord Alan Sugar has been told to remove a tweet promoting a teeth whitening kit after he did not make it clear it was an advert. So this was posted in December. And it was for a product that brand Style Smile, and he said would make a perfect Christmas gift. But he owns 50% share in a business which is run by a former winner of his reality show. The advertising watchdog said the tweet breached guidelines and must not appear again. So Lord Sugar said, if you know someone who's longing for whiter teeth, this is a perfect Christmas gift for them. He said in the tweet, along with a link to the product's website. Okay, a complaint was raised about the post, questioning whether it was obvious it was an advert. So Lord Sugar and Style Smile, run by inventor Tom Pellereau, who won the Apprentice series in 2011, argued that it was a well-known fact that Lord Sugar was a partner in the company because it was made public on The Apprentice in front of millions of viewers. They said Lord Sugar was known to post about his businesses on social media regularly, and the tweet was not a covert promotion. However, the Advertising Standards Authority ruled that the tweet broke the advertising code. According to the rules, all advertising communications must be clearly marked, for example, with the phrase #ad on any social media posts. The ASA said the tweet was not obviously identifiable as a marketing communication. And although Lord Sugar is a well-known investor, it was also not immediately clear to people that Lord Sugar had a commercial interest in the business. We told Style Ideas Limited and Lord Sugar to ensure that they made clear the commercial intent of their posts in future, for example by including a clear and prominent identifier on their social media posts, such as #ad, the watchdog added. The SA also upheld complaints against TV personality Stacey Solomon, who posted 2 paid-for posts on her Instagram account promoting the brand Card Factory. Her 2 Instagram stories in November last year contained the word ad, but it was in a white lettering on a white background. The ASA said because the word was obscured, the story posts were not obviously identifiable as marketing communications. Solomon is the latest among a string of celebrities and influencers who have had complaints upheld against them over social media posts and that had not been clearly marked as adverts. So this kind of thing must happen all the time. There must be all kinds of sort of guerrilla sort of backdoor marketing by people, celebrities and influencers and this kind of thing asked to promote products. Now I imagine a lot of it gets by because it could be that a company has come to somebody covertly and quietly and said, look, if you just drop this in, you get millions of people following you, watching your videos, watching your blog, watching your Instagram. If you just put this in the background or just maybe mention it, we'll slip you a few quid. And I guess what I'm asking is, there must be a fine line between giving your opinion and being paid. I mean, I guess that's it. I guess it's the money. If I said I like, on here, a particular brand of coffee, I do like a particular brand of coffee, but I'm not getting any money from the company for it, I guess that's just an opinion. I guess as soon as I start taking money or favours or gifts from the company, then it becomes an ad, and there is the fine line. The thing with the Lord Sugar thing is, because he owns a 50% stake in the company, you could not, it's very obvious when you look into it, you can't argue either way. You can't argue, well, it's just his opinion. It's like, no, he's clearly trying to push the company, which he owns 50% stake in, and help out somebody that, who's in business with him. So there was a clear commercial intent, and they said it wasn't communicated effectively. So yeah, and like I say, I bet this happens an awful lot. I bet there's so much of this going on which you're not aware of, and which the Advertising Standards Authority don't pick up on because it's done slyly. Like I say, it's just something in the back. I mean, my background's a green screen, but there's people who shoot in the living room or the kitchen or whatever they happen to do. If they have something on the shelf, a particular book, or maybe particular music playing, or a product that they might just be giving you their daily routine, and they just happen to use a certain hand cream or a certain toothpaste or a certain makeup brand, and they don't, Because then people if people like what you do and they like the way you look or they like what music's playing, they're going to ask in a comment, they're going to say, what's that track that's playing? And then you're going to type back, oh, it's this, or what's that cream you're using on your hands there? And you could just say, oh yeah, it's this particular brand, I've been using it a while. So I bet an awful lot of it goes on, is what I'm saying. But in this particular one, the ASA has stood up and said, look, if you're going to, this is clearly an ad, and you need to make that clear to people so you're not deceiving them. Because at this point, it's not just your opinion. You've got a commercial interest in this being your opinion, okay? Anyway, so that's it. Let's move on. Story number 2. This one is nuts. So this is BuzzFeed News. A 5-year-old boy was pulled over while trying to drive to California to buy a Lamborghini. Just let that settle just a minute, okay? I've got my crazy background up. So a 5-year-old boy in Utah was pulled over on Monday while trying to drive to California to buy a Lamborghini. About 12:15, a highway patrol trooper was trying to catch up to a speeder on the southbound Interstate 15 in Ogden when he came across what he initially thought was an impaired driver or someone experiencing a medical emergency travelling at 32 miles an hour in the 70-mile-an-hour zone. So Lieutenant Nick Street told BuzzFeed News there was a curve in the road and he was kind of having a hard time making the curve. The trooper initiated his traffic stop, and when he approached the vehicle, he found a small boy on the verge of tears, sitting on the edge of the seat with both feet on the brake pedal. After the trooper helped him put the car in gear and turn off the engine, the boy told him he was 5 years old and he had left home to drive to California because he wanted to buy a Lamborghini. The trooper said he might have been a bit short on the purchase because he only had $3 in his wallet. Dash camera video of the traffic stop shows a light-coloured compact SUV, that's a sports utility vehicle for all us Europeans, driving slowly on the interstate, moving across lanes without using any turn signals before the trooper turns on his siren. After the car pulls over onto the left shoulder, the officer exits the vehicle, then appears to help the child park and turn the engine off. He returns to his car and walks back to the SUV and asks the boy some questions. He goes, so how old are you? 5 years old, wow, okay, the trooper said. Where did you learn how to drive a car? The boy's answers are inaudible in the video. Street said the agency's tweet incorrectly stated that the boy, who was not identified, had left home after an argument with his mum. The boy's parents were both at work at the time, and an older sibling in their teens was supposed to be babysitting when he grabbed the keys and left. He was determined to get a Lamborghini with the money he had in his wallet, Street said. Apparently he didn't realise that you can get one in Utah, so he was in Utah and he was going to drive to California. The boy ultimately was only able to drive a few miles from home. Just being able to drive a few miles at 5 years old is scarily impressive. Street said the agency in the communication with the county attorney to determine whether any charges should be filed against the boy's parents, but noted that based on the boy's emotional state at the traffic stop, there was a good chance this won't reoccur. So essentially what the officer's saying is he's pretty much terrified himself. But there's so much to unpack here. So parents leaving child with with teenager. If the child is of age, if there's a teenager that is allowed to look after a younger sibling, that's fine. You know, parents have got to work, and it's maybe, you know, as a parent you might not think it's ideal, but it happens and it's legal, so that's fine. Kid sneaked out, got in the car, wanted to buy a Lambo, and thought, Lambos are sold in California, so I'm going to drive to California. How does he know how to drive? Has he seen it in movies? Has his mum and dad, when he's been in the car with them, you know, how do you do this? Have they ever sort of sat him on the driveway and sat him on the lap and said, well, this does this and this does that? And, you know, if it's an automatic particularly, it's reasonably straightforward to get it moving anyway. If it's manual, then if you've not, anybody who's driven a manual car knows when you first start, there's a high chance of stalling and not getting the biting point in the clutch. If it's an auto, it's simply a question of foot on the brake, put it into drive, and that's it, you're moving. So it doesn't say in the article, but I suspect it's probably that. But yeah, it just, one of them kids, you know, if you're a parent and your kids are young and they come to you and say, oh, what are you going to do today? And like, oh, I'm going to drive to California to buy a Lamborghini. And it's, oh, that's nice, dear. And this kid was like, no, I'm really going to do that. But thankfully, he's fine. He's given himself a really good scare. And at this point going forward, obviously his parents are going to be like, no keys in the house. Whoever the teenage sibling was, it's like, if we're going to leave him with you again, eyes like a hawk on that kid. So yeah, I don't think anybody here was particularly irresponsible. Maybe the teenager for not watching the 5-year-old, for not paying closer attention, not allowing him to leave the house in the first place. But again, if they've got a nice big front garden and the kid goes, I'm going to go play in the front garden, you know, so he just stepped out, and the teenager was, occupied, and it's like, well, I know he's in the front garden, it's a safe neighbourhood, whatever. So it's just a series of sort of mishaps, essentially. I don't think anyone's to really blame here, but I'm kind of impressed that this kid could drive a car at all. I'm thoroughly relieved that nothing bad happened, that nothing came of it. But if you're the idea for me of like, if I was 5 years old, getting in the car, getting on an interstate or a motorway where there's cars doing 70 miles an hour and trucks and commercial vehicles and staying in that lane, no wonder he terrified himself. But thankfully, all is well. He's safe, and lessons will be learnt. Anyway, so there you go. Let's move on. Story number 3. So this one, the Washington Post via MSN News. So this man posts a daily bad dad joke in his front yard. People are groaning, but they love it. So yeah, again, this is the only kind of virus-related story in today's show, and thankfully it's a good one. So Maryland's stay-at-home COVID-19 order has been stressful for Anne and Tom Shrubin, self-employed workers who live in Kensington with their 11-year-old daughter. Anne noticed her husband was getting a little grumpy. He's generally cheerful, he likes to crack jokes and puns. In fact, their daughter Darcy had given him a book of exceptionally bad dad jokes as a Christmas present. When Anne heard a friend in Ohio was posting a daily joke in front of their house, she told Tom he should do the same thing, but Tom resisted. Then about 2 weeks ago, he grabbed the whiteboard and wrote at the top, bad dad jokes, and he scrawled in purple ink, "Hold on, I think I got something in my shoe. Pretty sure it's a foot." At 8 AM on April 17th, he set the whiteboard near the footpath in front of his house and just waited in his screened-in porch to see if anyone reacted. Nothing. But then a few hours later, he started hearing a chuckle from outside. And once he got his first laugh, it was so satisfying to him, said Anne, a landscape designer. The next day, he woke up at 7 AM and scribbled his second bad dad joke, which is, "Without geometry, life is pointless." I quite like that one. Soon he heard people laughing as they walked by his home along a creek at the edge of Rock Creek Park. Someone called out to Tom and told him how much they liked the jokes, and others stayed for a socially distanced chat. So a spring returned to Tom's step each morning since he's put out a new joke. So he said, "It surprised me how much it made my mood better. I don't really know why. I guess it feels like I'm contributing a little bit to other people's happiness." So day 3 was, "What do you call a cow with no legs?" Ground beef. And on day 4, "What do you call a bear with no teeth?" A gummy bear. So one woman who strolls by each day told Tom when she gets home she calls her granddaughter to relay the joke. He said, "That makes my day," said Tom, who's an environmental consultant and also likes the routine of putting up the joke. He said, "It gives me a reason to get up and get out in the morning early. It breaks up the day and gives me a little bit of purpose. We look forward to it in the house." So the Shrubins talk each day about which jokes are displayed. They leaf through the book that Tom got for Christmas, which was titled "Exceptionally Bad Dad Jokes. So frightfully awful, yet wonderfully spiffing." Sometimes they pull the jokes from there, and sometimes the Shrubins make them up. He loves to make really bad dad jokes. His daughter Darcy said he makes a lot of puns. One joke from the book has prompted the most discourse. On day 8, he wrote, "I ordered a chicken and an egg from Amazon. I'll let you know." Lots of neighbours were talking about that one, including Jim Paycar, 59, who ambles by the whiteboard each day to see the latest bad dad joke. He says if you don't like them, well, they're not supposed to be good, Paycar said, adding that he calls the neighbours' humour "stand up for the shutdown." Marna McNeil, 65, also told the chicken egg joke as she walked through the neighbourhood with her walking buddy Tina McKay, 68. Both women live nearby in North Chevy Chase. There's actually a place called North Chevy Chase. It was raining that day, so Tom had covered up the sign in plastic to protect it. We stopped and read the joke. I had to think about it for a minute. She said, "Then I finally got it, and I've been telling other people the joke ever since. It's clever." She's known the Shrubins for years, since their grown children were in school together. But when the women walked by that day, they didn't know Tom had been putting out jokes. She said, "It was great fun. We had a chuckle. It's a nice respite on our walk. You have to find something great in this mess." Brilliant. He said, "This is exactly the life perspective that has kept Tom and Anne going since 2 of their 6 children died from medical issues, one in 2002 and one in 2009. That in the darkest days, they made a conscious decision to seek out things that would make them feel happy. They said, it adds to our trying to find joy where we can, and it's hard won, believe me. And if a silly and bad dad joke for them and others kind of does it for them, they intend to keep it going." He said, "Everyone is very stressed with the virus and the quarantine," and Tom said, "I just thought it would be a good idea to give people a break from that, shake them up momentarily to take their mind off the troubles just for a minute." So how long does he plan to continue? Apparently until we're done with the virus, or maybe longer. So, if it's proving popular, he's going to keep it up. But again, it's just a nice thing. it's just a nice sort of, it's a very human thing to do, isn't it? Just to try and a little bit of levity, make people laugh. So people are walking past the bottom of his property, you know, taking their daily socially distance exercise, and it's just a little something. Like my mum and people have been putting out little rainbow petals. I've got one here on my windowsill. So this is what my mother's been doing. She's been doing things like that, and then someone got glitter and stars on, and she's been leaving around the village where she lives when she goes out for a walk. But the other day she told me that she's upset because they've all gone missing. And I said, no, it's a good thing, it's a compliment, because people are taking them home, people like them. And you're leaving them out there, so it's not theft, but it's, you know, I get that she puts them out because she wants everybody to see them. But I said, don't be upset that people are taking them, because she did give me that one, I didn't take that one. But people are taking them home because they like them, and it brings a little bit of sunshine. And this is the same thing. It's just another example of somebody doing a little something, a little nothing. For the most part, it's just a joke. People tell jokes all the day, but just having a little something. If you're out on a walk and just, you know, it's giving the family a bit of a routine. They all sit around, think of a joke, which one's going to work, and they put it out. And then it's just one of them lovely little things to kind of get us through these days. And again, just like he said, like the family said, just take your mind off it just for a minute or two, give you a giggle, and then you can pass that on. A joke is one of the wonderful things because you can pass it on. It's a way of passing on joy. And because of lockdown and quarantine, a joke is something that can go, you don't have to be next to somebody. It's not like a cuddle. A hug is a lovely thing, but you can't pass them on at the minute. But a joke, that can travel, and that can travel all the way around the world thanks to social media and the internet and all this fabulous stuff. So, brilliant. Anyway, let's move on to story number 4. Got my angry background up for this one, so not loving it. This is in the Mail Online. Northerners slam McDonald's over news that the first 15 restaurants to reopen for delivery next week are all in southern England. While cars queuing for KFC cause a traffic jam as it resumes drive-through at 55 branches. Yes, they're up in arms at Northerners. So Northerners have slammed McDonald's after the fast food giant revealed that 15 branches to reopen next week will all be in the south of England. Restaurants preparing to offer delivery only service from 11 AM on the 13th of May are mainly London and the surrounding counties, with 3 in Luton and another 3 in Chelmsford, provoking anger on social media. Twitter users were quick to react to the news, with Northerners in particular expressing outrage over the locations chosen by the company. The news comes as huge queues of cars formed at KFC restaurants up and down the country after it resumed drive-through services at dozens of its branches today. One drive-through in Swansea saw queues of 60 to 70 cars, causing major traffic problems. KFC has already reopened 100 of its restaurants for delivery only before today announcing it was reopening drive-through lanes at 55 of those restaurants. Chicken fans flocked to branches across the UK, especially at Morpher Shopping Park in Swansea, where customers queued up for 5 hours to place an order, severely congesting a nearby dual carriageway and roundabout. One witness said people were getting out of their cars to walk around and not adhering to social distancing measures. People began arriving at KFC around 11:30 for the 12 o'clock opening and were still queuing up after 3:30 PM. The witness said the cars caused major traffic jams on either side of Brunel Way leading to the retail park. I did not witness any social distancing personally. Many of the people who purchased a KFC meal were pulling their cars up in the car park to eat the meals, with many windows down due to the warm weather. Meanwhile, McDonald's announcement triggered a fierce backlash on Twitter, with some users claiming the company hates the North. So instead of spreading the stores throughout the UK, you only open southern stores, with some multiple stores even in the same time. It's senseless, one user, Khalil, said. McDonald's tweeted back, Kelly, we are working hard to reopen more restaurants and we'll keep you updated as we add more. Carl Thornton said, as usual, the North is forgotten about, while Cat Sliper questioned, why are they all down south? Is there something wrong with the North and Scotland? Others expressed amazement that 3 restaurants would open in Chelmsford within a short distance of one another. On the actual article, somebody did a Google map thing, and apparently these 3 in Chelmsford, 2 of them are 7 minutes apart. So I can see why people are a little bit peeved about this. As announced last week, McDonald's restaurants will be opening from 11 AM till 10 PM. We'll have a limited menu and offer. Customers will be able to order a range of favourites like cheeseburgers, chicken nuggets and Big Macs. Vegetarian options will also be available, including veggie dippers. But they are introducing a range of security measures, including perspex screens and floor markings, which will be introduced in specific areas, additional protective equipment, including non-medical grade face masks. All employees will be asked to confirm they are fit and able to work, and contactless thermometers will be used to take temperatures on arrival at work for every shift. Social distancing measures will be introduced for delivery and service partners. McDonald's will temporarily not be serving breakfast. And the company said it will explore ways in which to help their employees safely change over menus, and will reintroduce their breakfast menu as soon as possible. Yeah, there is a whole lot more in this article, but let's just sort of unpack that so far. So that's what we've got. So they're all down south, and 3 of them are in the same area, and 2 of them are like less than 10 minutes apart. So you can see why people are upset. From McDonald's perspective, they are going to open the ones that are probably most financially viable. However, what I would argue is at the minute, they are all financially viable because people want it and they've not been able to get it. So whichever one they open, as far as I'm concerned, is going to make money. If they'd opened one in each, in sort of the 15 major cities across the country, that would make more sense to me. It would feel fairer. But businesses at the minute are not concerned with fair, they're concerned with survival, they're concerned with longevity. So these 15 are going to be a test bed essentially. And again, if they're all in the same area, it's quite possibly easier to monitor and communicate any changes, what needs to be put into place. So if they all open up and it's like, right, this, what we've put in place is working for the customer, this isn't working, we need to work on this to keep people safe. It's probably far easier to communicate that between these local branches and actually go to them and put it in place than it would be if they were spread across the country. However, it does feel a little bit, they are so, you know, I mean, it's a cluster. And again, you're going to go for your biggest markets to kind of pressure test these new things because you're going to go to the busiest ones. Number one, you make more money. But again, 15 stores is not going to support McDonald's. They need them all open. And hopefully, if this is successful, they will start to spread. And again, they're going to spread quickly. If this proves to work, you better believe McDonald's are going to open the rest of them as quickly as they can because they want to get people back. They've had to furlough all their staff. It does mention later in the article. McDonald's furloughed 135,000 staff when it shut up shop temporarily in March. It distributed over 400 tons of food to charities and food banks around the UK and Ireland since the coronavirus lockdown. So, yeah, fantastic, you know. So they are doing their bit. I don't know if that was food they donated because it couldn't be used in the restaurants and they wanted to spoil, or if they've actively sought out, you know, purchased it and sent it out. Either way, it's a nice gesture. But yeah, I think this is going to keep going until they get more open across the country. My kids, I said to them, you know, once it's all over, where's the first place you want to go? And they both said McDonald's. So, you know, there is a demand for it. And I think wherever they open one now, it's going to be successful. They're going to bounce back. But yeah, so there's a little bit of tension with maybe those northerners, but it's not going to matter. When, you know, no one's going to boycott them. I'm really mad at McDonald's because they've all opened down south. Okay, yours opening next week. I'll be there. You know what I mean? It's no one's going to kick off. So McDonald's are daft. They're not. You know, they know we're not going to stop going. You know, we're not going to take our bat home and just go, well, fine, I'm not going to go to McDonald's anymore. Yes, of course you are. Anyway, so there we go. Let's move on. Story number 5. Now, before we get to this, I have often said on this channel, and I say a lot, and I do thoroughly believe that basically how you live your life, do what you want to do. As long as it doesn't affect anybody else negatively, live your life how you see fit. This one has got me, this one, I still believe it, but this one pushed me a little bit. So get ready for this. Story number 5 is in the Mirror today. A woman with the biggest lips in the world shows off the huge new pout after the 20th injection. Yes, I have my puzzled background because this I don't get. Anyway, I'll give you the story. So, a Barbie doll wannabe who believes she has the biggest lips in the world has undergone her 20th lip injection. So she's called Andrea Ivanova from Bulgaria, has undergone more than 20 hyaluronic acid lip injections and plans to get her lips even bigger. The 22-year-old has been dubbed a real-life Barbie, and her latest injection on Tuesday posted a photo of herself on her Instagram page to reveal her ever-growing pout. She captioned her photo with the hashtags #love, #bigger, #lips. As fans praised her for her appearance, with one saying "bigger is better" and another added, "I love Andrea's perfect big lips." Andrea, who began her transformation in 2018, boasts over 32,000 Instagram followers, where she posts pictures of her lips to her adoring fans. She has spent thousands of pounds to achieve her look, forking out on an average of £134 per treatment, but has lost count of how much she has spent over the years. She said, "I had my latest injection 2 days ago. I feel great to have even more, but some doctors think it's enough, though I still want them bigger. My doctor said he will do more injections for me, but said I would have to wait at least 2 months. I like my new lips a lot. It was hard to eat after the injection, and 2 or 3 days after, the procedure gets more difficult, but there is no restrictions to what I can eat. I think my lips are lovely. I love them. I'm not sure if they're the biggest lips in the world, but they are one of the biggest, I think." She began her transformation in 2018 and now feels happier and more content with having bigger lips. Speaking last September when she had completed 15 lip injections, she said, "I like my lips now more than before. I feel very good and very happy with my lips. Because according to me, the bigger lips I have, I look prettier." Okay. I visited almost all clinics for aesthetic procedures in the Bulgarian capital, Sofia, and I put in my lips almost all kinds of lip fillers. I didn't count the money for these procedures and don't know exactly how much I have spent on my lips. Thousands of fans praise her for a unique look, but she also gets fierce criticism. So, yes, I said lips an awful lot in that article, but they were in there. So, yeah, again, this is entirely your choice. If you want to look like this and you're not hurting anybody else, have at it. It's your body, it's your life. I do feel at some point there's a responsibility on the behalf of doctors to say no more. I think it sets a dangerous precedent for cosmetic surgeons to just keep doing the same procedure over and over again. Because with any cosmetic procedure, there is risks. I mean, the doctor has said you need to wait at least 2 months, which I guess is for any swelling to go down to make sure there's no infection and to let everything settle. And kind of, I'm not sure how a filler works, but I'm guessing it takes time to sort of settle and find its place a little bit. Once the tissue around it, like I say, because it's a trauma for the tissue, there'll be some swelling and some bruising maybe, and that'll disappear, and then you're going to have more. I do feel there's a certain point where doctors, just as a matter of care, should be, I'm not doing any more. She said in the article that some doctors have already said that. She said, I turned my nose up a little bit, she said she thinks it makes her look prettier. If that's what she thinks, fine. I can't tell her she's wrong. For me, it's not a look I find attractive. I don't appreciate it. There is, in the article, there's pictures further down of how she looked before she had any surgery done. She's a beautiful girl. But again, it's tough because my opinion is you were beautiful before you didn't need to do this. Doesn't matter because it's just my opinion. And her opinion is, I think I look prettier with having my lips like this. And she's completely entitled to feel like that. But I just look at it and it's just, I don't know. She's 22. She's young, but she's an adult. She can make her own decisions. But I just find that kind of modification extreme. You know what I mean? It wasn't that she felt that her lips were a little bit flat. It doesn't, you know what I mean? It's not like people have said, oh my God, you've got really thin lips, and she developed a complex and had this. She just decided, I just want bigger lips. And now she has them. And she's happy with them. And she says it doesn't affect her life. She says she can eat what she wants. I'm guessing there must be some things, you know, because for me, your lips form your speech. They shape, you know, how you speak. Does she, you know, does she not slur almost? Does she not mumble just because she has these huge lips? But, you know, she's happy, she loves it, she's getting an Instagram follow. As long as she's not doing it to promote the following. As long as she's not doing it for any exterior validation. If she's doing it because she feels good doing it, fine, absolutely fine. If she's doing it because other people, she likes the validation of other people, that's not the reason as far as I'm concerned. You don't do stuff for validation of other people, you shouldn't do. And I know it's easier to say that and it's harder in practice, but yeah, I'm kind of, you know what I mean? I'm either way on this. Again, I do thoroughly believe it's her body. She's not harming anybody else. If it makes her feel good, good on you, girl. Do what you want to do. I just think medically, because surely the lips, there's only so much skin here in your lips. So surely it's getting stretched and stretched and stretched and getting thinner in areas because it's like blowing up a balloon. There's a certain point where that balloon will pop. And I'm not saying your lips are going to burst, but just from a medical perspective, surely there's a point where this becomes a health risk if she keeps going, which she says she intends to do. So I just think there needs to be a balance there. There needs to be a certain point where, I'm guessing at some point, there is a certain point where the person doing these procedures should say, look, you've physically not got enough space left in the existing tissue to put more in. There's going to be a greater risk to your health. But if she's not reached that point yet and she wants to do more, and as long as she's got good people advising her, as long as she is getting the best advice and the best care about these procedures, okay, aesthetically it doesn't appeal to me, it doesn't need to. She's not doing it for me, she's doing it for her, which is the best reason to do it. But yeah, I guess I'm just taken aback because I mean, just that is an extreme look. But she looks to the extreme. There's other pictures where it looks like she may have had some sort of breast augmentation. I don't know that, but it looks like that. You look at the eyeshadow, again, it's extreme. Everything is enhanced, if you will, visually. And, you know, that's the look she's going for. And she is achieving the look she's going for. And it doesn't have to appeal to everybody. It doesn't appeal to me. It might not appeal to a lot of you, but it appeals to her. That's what matters. It's her body. She can do with it as she wishes. I guess what I'm saying is I'm concerned for her overall health. If people are willing to keep saying yes to her, if there's a medical reason not to, and people are just ignoring that because it's just, you know, it's that money. Yeah, I'll just keep giving you fillers. You know, that's my concern. Anyway, so that's it, guys. Links to all the stories I've discussed can be found in the description below, so feel free to go and check them out. Let me know what you think about this video and tell me what's the first eatery, the first restaurant, the first takeaway you plan to visit when lockdown lifts. What is going to be your treat? Is it going to be a particular restaurant you like, a particular cafe in a particular location? Is it just going to be, really want a pizza, I really want a burger, I really want a McDonald's, KFC, whatever it happens to be, let me know. So answers in the comments, please, along with any thoughts you'd like to share. These are mine. They're not necessarily important. They're not necessarily right or wrong. They're just what was on my mind. So until next time, bye for now.